Hello, I'm Laura. It's Sunday, March 8th, 2026, and these are today's Heartlines. We begin a new theme for the week with our human family, and today we are focused on the women of our human family. And that is because March is Women's History Month, and today in particular is the 115th anniversary of International Women's Day. The first time it took place was back in 1911 when Clara Zetkin organized women in 17 countries to march for their human rights. And human rights belong to all people, whatever the gender or nationality might be. So when women were reaching out to establish these rights, it was of benefit to all of us. Well, when women marched for their human rights in 1911, it started International Women's Day. But the full right to vote for women didn't come for a little while. Oh yes, women had partial rights according to their positions in society. Sometimes they'd be given the right to vote, sometimes it would be taken away, but many restrictions were put on the rights of women to vote, or women didn't have that right at all ever since that initial vote in 1689 in Friesland, Netherlands. So women have struggled for that full voice in society for centuries. And in the 20th century, it started to take hold very strongly in many ways. In Russia in 1917, what Clara Zetkin had done inspired the women there to organize to the point where they created a march and a protest in that era in which they were given the right to vote. Then in 1918, Germany followed by giving women the right to vote. And in 1918, the United Kingdom gave women over 30 the right to vote, while giving it to all women over 21 10 years later in 1928. The United States came in with the right to vote for women in 1920, and France 1944. So you see, it has been a long struggle for women. Even in the countries in Africa, it was between 1950 and 1975, where women in what is now every country in Africa attained the right to vote as part of the decolonization process, though women still struggle in many, if not most countries, for their full human rights. But that struggle for human rights really reflects our struggle within to learn to give voice to the wisdom of the heart, which is represented by the female population of humankind, the wisdom of the heart, something we all have inside and something we can all give voice to, both in creating what we experience in our own lives and in being a stand for the lives of others. So we're going to start to give that wisdom a voice right now by taking a pause in silent contemplation. So let's take a deep breath and close our eyes and focus on this truth. I have a voice that honors the past and has hope for the future by speaking in the present from the wisdom of the heart. I have a voice that honors the past and has hope for the future by speaking in the present from the wisdom of the heart. And so it is. You know, there are still women in many areas who have no rights and no voices when it comes to shaping their society. And even in places where they do, they are still struggling for those full, equal rights. So, the struggle does continue, but it reflects our inner struggle. Because the more we quietly take time to go to the heart, to seek the wisdom that is there, the more we can express into our world our own freedom and be a stand for the freedom of others. And in today's world, that is very much needed. And I am so glad that each of us is here to share that principle of equality and freedom for all that comes from the wisdom of the heart. Thank you for joining me today, and have a wonderful day.